Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Simon, and in this video we're going to be talking about expanding my everyday carry kit. Now, if you watch this video regularly, you'll know that I have this lovely wallet which I made, and there's a video link in the description if you're interested in making this. And that this wallet comes with a little 3D printed tray that holds some accessories such as an SD card adapter, a little micro SD card to USB adapter, a coin for your shopping trolley, and some tablets. You'll also be aware that I recently made some pens, and this pen matches very nicely the wooden wallet. And I thought, wouldn't it be a nice idea if I could complement that with some more everyday carry items? So I was online looking for a wooden torch, but of course you can't buy a wooden torch. But I've managed to find this, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to modify this to give it some wooden accents. This is a very cheap, they're £6 for two, AAA size torch, and I'm hoping that I can take this apart and add those wooden accents to it, therefore making a little everyday carry kit that all matches. So let's get tinkering. Now, the main reason I bought this torch over others is there was an exploded diagram of the torch, which means I know that it can come apart into a number of pieces. So I'm left with this piece, which is the piece that I'm hoping to modify. It's basically just a tube with a thread at each end, and I'm hoping that I can just take these bits out here and one of the ends out, and then slide a piece of wood over it and turn it back down so that I have a wooden accent. Now, I don't have any way of actually mounting the torch body onto the lathe, so I'm going to start by making some little adapters that will allow me to do that. And here I'm just using a hardwood dowel. I'm testing regularly because I want the fit to be an interference fit with the thread at each end of the torch body. Well, I think that's about close enough. It's slightly oversized, so I'm going to finish it off with a little bit of sanding. The sanding removed the burr, and I also added a chamfer, and now that is a very nice interference fit. So I've turned the piece around, I've zeroed the cross slide, so I should be able to move the cross slide out now and then bring it back to the same distance that I did the other piece with. Fingers crossed that will work. Well, that worked remarkably well, much better than I expected. I'm going to cut this in half, but not down the middle. The larger piece will be used on the chuck jaws, and the smaller piece will be used with the lathe centre. Now, these slightly shallower pieces I've measured at 14.5, so that's what I'm going to turn the whole thing down to. I'll then need to find a 14.5mm drill to drill my blank. I've got a bit of a wobble, so I need to work out how to resolve that. It's difficult to describe how I actually fixed the wobble. I basically just fiddled with it until there was no wobble there. Now, this torch tube is already pretty thin. Removing any of it is likely to compromise its overall integrity, but I figure that adding a wooden sleeve will strengthen it again. So if you're surprised that mounting a torch tube in the lathe like this actually works, then you shouldn't be, because it's going to fail. I'm still learning about using the lathe, and I learn best from making mistakes. Keep watching to see where this ultimately goes, and how I solved this problem. So I thought I had some video of how this failed. Basically, the tube started slipping, and the only way I could think to fix this was to add some CA or super glue. This did seem to work, but it left me with the tube glued to the wooden mount. And when I tried to remove it, the tube was so thin that it just sheared off. So I set about making a makeshift arbor, which I'll make a separate video on because this video is already getting a bit too long really. So we'll rejoin this video, me having mounted the second torch tube onto the makeshift arbor that I created. So I made an arbor and collets, and I tried turning my last torch handle to see if that works any better. I've coloured the collets in green just so that you can see them versus the piece that I'm turning with. Hopefully now I'll be able to turn this without breaking the torch handle.
If you want to watch the video about how I made the makeshift arbor, then it'll be on my channel. And if you subscribe, it should be in your feed. And if you don't subscribe, perhaps now's the time to take the plunge. It's free, but it helps me out quite a bit.
I'm now cutting a piece off this old table leg, which will be suitable for making the blank. Using my lathe and some 3D printed collets, I now drill a hole through the blank.
Unfortunately, this collet is slightly too large, and the wood starts to slip inside the collet.
So deciding that the hole is deep enough to get a nice straight hole, I carry on with the hand drill. I do this because I know I can hold the wood a lot more securely in my wood vise. And I trim it to length on the bandsaw. So off camera I've just pressed the tube into the hole in this, what's essentially a pen blank, and I glued it using super glue. And now that back on the arbor, I can turn it.
It's that time in the video for some audience participation. So if you're enjoying this video, then please leave me a thumbs up. And if you've got any comments, then please leave them. If you've got any suggestions for how I could do this differently or better using your experience, then let me and everyone else that reads the comments know. I really love reading the comments. It's one of the few pieces of feedback I get from YouTube that tell me that people are enjoying the videos. And I only really make them because I get that feedback that people are enjoying them. And if you are enjoying it, then you probably know someone else who might enjoy this video. There's a little share button you can click on to send a link to this video to your friends. So if you've never shared a video before, give it a go. It's really easy.
I swap over to my tool rest just to add a chamfer to both ends. I then add some sanding sealer and then sand. I work my way up the grits, starting at 80, then 120, 220 and finally 400. I use a tack cloth to remove any loose sawdust and then apply some friction polish. I now just need to see if I can put it all back together again. So what do you think of this set? I have to say I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it would be nice if I could make this piece a little bit narrower, but I'm just worried about making it any narrower and it just falling apart. So I might have to research, seeing if I can find an even better donor torch to make this from. Well, I'm really pleased with this. I think it looks great and it matches and goes well with the wallet and the pen. So if you want to watch a video on how I made this wallet or how I made this pen, then I'll leave a link in the description. If you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a thumbs up. If you haven't already, then why haven't you subscribed? Please subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.